Wow, guys, this is good news, guys. Amid Tariff Row, Trump says that he had an extremely productive call with Canadian PM. Donald Trump added that the two had agreed to meet soon after Canada's general election on April 28, which Carney called shortly after replacing Trump's nemesis Justin Trudeau 2 weeks ago. According to the US President, President Donald Trump, he said that they had an extremely productive call. First call Friday with Canadian Prime Minister Carney, despite tensions over tariffs and Trump's recent calls to annex his northern neighbor. In his words, he said, and I quote, "I just finished speaking with Prime Minister Carney of Canada. It was an extremely productive call. We agreed on many things," Trump said on his Truth social network. Trump said that they would be meeting immediately after Canada's upcoming election on politics, business, and other factors that will end up being great for both the United States of America and Canada. Trump's glowing post was a dramatic change in tone from recent rhetoric between Washington and Ottawa. In a sign of the tensions, Carney had declared on Thursday that the era of deep economic, security, and military ties between Canada and the United States is over. He had also vowed to retaliate against Trump's unjustified decision this week to slap steep tariffs on cars. Trump's planned 25% levy on vehicles imports to the United States is to come into force next week and could be devastating for a Canadian auto industry that supports an estimated 500,000 jobs. Carney also warned on Thursday that he would not participate in substantive trade negotiation with Washington until the president shows Canada respect, particularly by ending his repeated annexation threats. Trump had repeatedly said since returning to power in January that close NATO ally Canada should become the 51st U.S. state. The U.S. president also warned Canada on Wednesday against working with the European Union to counter upcoming reciprocal tariffs on all imports that he is expected to announce next week. If they did so, they would face large-scale tariffs far larger than currently planned, Trump warned. It will interest you to know that a new Canadian leader makes a phone call with the U.S. president, an immediate priority, but this was Trump and Carney's first contact since the Canadian took office on March 14th. So guys, I would like you to listen to Trump to hear what he said here in this press conference. What he said about him having good conversation with Canadian PM Carney.
We had a very, very good talk. He's going through an election now, and we'll see what happens, but we have Liberation Day, as you know, on April 2nd, and I'm not referring to Canada, but many countries have taken advantage of us, the likes of which nobody even thought was possible for many, many decades, And, you know, that has to stop. We're going to end up with a very good relationship with Canada and a lot of the other countries. Some we probably won't. It won't be so pleasant, but I think most countries are agreeing with me. They actually many of them have actually apologized. They said, look, we have taken advantage. And I don't blame them as much as I blame the people that stood, in this case I can say the men, because so far they've been all men, haven't they? But the men that sat right there and behind the Resolute desk, mostly the Resolute desk, you know. I don't know if you know, you have a choice of 7 desks. The Resolute is the one I like, but some chose other ones. But they sat right behind a desk right in this location. And they let our country be hurt very badly, but I didn't do that. But we had a very good talk, the Prime Minister and myself, and I think things are going to work out very well between Canada and the United States.